Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. I am John Ryan, your host, and I'm pleased to have Ira Silver, who is known as Ira Silver Magic. You can find him on Twitter, exactly that, the @ Ira Silver Magic. He is an independent professional bettor who did very well in the Circa contest. Got to know him real well during those trying times in that last 4-week period, but he did it very well, especially for his first time doing it. And he's very good at hockey. And as you guys know, I don't like parlays. I don't recommend them, but with this guy, I do. So welcome to the show, Ira. And we got a lot to talk about. It's just an exciting time, and sometimes I can't even talk right because we have the Final Four going on. We have Major League Baseball now. We have NBA. We have hockey. We got even big horse racing events, which I know nothing about, but I know they're occurring. So I guess let's start out with a quick synopsis of the Final Four, the way you see it, and maybe some of the action that you may take to the window, or maybe that you've already done.
Yeah, really nothing yet. I haven't done anything, and I do apologize to everyone listening if you do hear Gretzky in the background. My dog, he is snoring away on the couch right next to me, so I do apologize for that. But in terms of the Final Four, I don't have anything just yet, but it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Baylor's a team to watch out for, but as everyone knows, Gonzaga is fantastic, so it's going to be fun. I don't know if I'll get to the window on anything, but I'm sure I will at some point, but just not quite yet.
Well, yours truly, you may not have heard this, but on the previous shows I've been on the last 2 days, I have been more passionate sounding about my pick, Ira, than any show you have ever seen me on, and you know that I'm pretty laid back when it comes to making strong recommendations. But for me personally, I am all over Houston, and I bet them to win the whole thing. And I also bet them in the Baylor game, an MGM prop bet that they will score 70 or more points and win. And I'm getting close to 6-1 on that particular prop bet. So that may come across as being a little bit stunning, but we won't waste our time talking about the reasons why. But you can imagine that they're pretty extensive, and my machine learning apps are all over it too. So even though I haven't had a good tournament, it's the first losing tournament I've had in 5 seasons, the second in the last 11. It was just a really crazy tournament, to say the least. And it just seemed like I was, just on the wrong side. A lot of times I thought it was the right side, the Houston game where they were up by 20-some and then, won by 6. That hurt. That stung. But, you do it this long, it's bound to happen again. That's the whole thing that people have to realize. That you don't keep winning and winning and winning. There are going to be those spots where things just, where you don't even think you could hit sand if you fell off a camel.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And then the other game, we don't even need to talk about that. If you do something at the window, you can always tweet it, and all the chat room people will be able to know that way too.
Absolutely, I will do. But I am wearing the Houston colors, so maybe that's who it is.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say they are flying under the radar.
No, they're definitely a very good team, both defensively and offensively. So I could definitely see them winning. I don't hate the bet. I actually I like it quite a bit. So I wish you luck. I probably won't get down on that, but I'll get down on something, probably with Houston team total in game or something like that. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. So let's move on to the NHL card. We have looks like 7 games tonight, 6 games. Starting at 7 o'clock tonight with Washington traveling to New Jersey, and then it goes on from there. Toronto, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, St. Louis, Colorado, etc., etc. So which game do you want to tackle first?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep riding what's been happening in the with the Maple Leafs here, and that may surprise some people, but it's not necessarily on the Maple Leafs here. It looks like you're gonna have Jack Campbell in goal. So if you do have Jack Campbell in goal, and if you've been listening to the program, you all know that Jack Campbell is my probably second favorite goalie behind Robin Lerner here in the NHL. Tonight is going to be, looks like it's going to be Campbell versus Connor Hullenbach against the Jets. This game currently is Maple Leafs minus 140, Jets plus 120, over under is 6. We did give out, I believe last show or the 2 shows ago when we were on, I did give out the under in the Maple Leafs game, and that hit. And I'm going to go back to the well here. Jack Campbell this season is 7-0, and only one time that he has started has a game gone over the total here. He is phenomenal. And let's not take away anything from Connor Hullenbach. I mean, that guy is playing out of his mind right now for the Jets. It's a lot of the reason why the Jets are doing what they're doing. They do give up a lot of dangerous chances, and he's really just been playing fantastic. So for me here, I'm going to play the under in this game. It's going to be under at minus 105. And prior to game, I haven't gone to the window yet. I'm hoping I see a 6.5, and I can get under 6.5, and I'll play a little bit of juice for that. So for me, I'll probably play under 6 here, minus 105, and then some more at under 6.5. So that's probably my favorite play of the day here. I'm just going to continue that, ride that Jack Campbell streak and see if it can continue for me. I think it's a great bet here.
And Toronto is 10-2 under off a win by 2 goals or more over a divisional foe this season already.
Yeah, there you go.
So that supports the trend quite well. They're also 12-5 under after having won 3 of their last 4 games this season.
Yeah, I really like that play tonight. I was on the under last night in the Chicago game, Chicago versus Carolina, and unfortunately there was 2 quick goals scored in the third period that kind of bit me, and we lost that one. So I'm going to come back and ride another under. I'm not a big over guy in the NHL, so when I'm on an over, it's I think I have a pretty big edge. So here tonight, I'm going to ride an under here, and it's going to be the Maple Leafs and Jets under 6, minus 105 right now, and hopefully you can, get a 6.5 at some point as well before game time.
Good stuff, but we need more.
I got more for you, and let's take it over to the Flames versus the Oilers. Tonight, it looks like, based on my projections, you're going to get Jacob Markstrom in goal for the Flames and Mike Smith in goal for the Oilers here. The line currently on this game is Edmonton minus 140 and Calgary plus 120. The other night I was actually on the Flames, but the game got postponed. It was a great spot for the Flames to buy low. But now it's a really tough spot here for the Flames. Their game got postponed because of COVID protocol. And now you're going to go ahead and take on this flaming hot Edmonton Oilers team, obviously led by Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And these guys score a lot of goals, and the Flames just don't. So, I'm not a big fan. We've talked about it on the show before. I'm not a fan of Jacob Markstrom in net. I don't think he's that good. His numbers would say maybe a little bit otherwise this season. His goals against are under 3, but just barely. And you're going to be facing Mike Smith, who's had a pretty decent season so far, 2.41 goals against with a 92% save percentage. So for me, it's really a play against the Flames here, having that the couple days off because of the COVID protocols, and then facing this red-hot Edmonton Oilers team. I'm going to go ahead and lay the minus 140 with the Edmonton Oilers here. And it's a shame because I really did want to buy low on the Flames the other night, but since they've had some time off, it's really going to hurt them here against the Oilers, going up against a really good opponent. And at minus 140, it's a really cheap price, and it's kind of like the same situation the other night. Toronto was minus 140 against the Jets, I believe, as well, and I played Toronto in their first game of the series at minus 140, and it was not even close. So short price, better team, better goalie. I'm going to take the Oilers here minus 140 in this game.
Yeah, I like that play too quite a bit. There's quite a few things supporting them too in terms of team angles. Calgary's 1-7 straight up when playing against a team with a win percentage above 51, between 51 and 60% in the first half of this season. So they have not done well against winning record teams. And Edmonton 17-4 straight up against struggling defensive teams that are allowing an average of 30 shots or more, 30 shots on goal or more per game in games played this season. So that's 17-4 and a 1-7. That combines for 24-5. One working against Calgary and one working for Edmonton. So I think you're absolutely right with Edmonton.
Yeah, and so those are my top two plays, under in Toronto and the Oilers minus 140. Another interesting game here, and this is it's going to sound a little crazy here, but it's only because of a goaltending situation, and that's the Colorado Avalanche are at home against the St. Louis Blues tonight. Colorado is a $2.10 favorite against the Blues. Blues plus 180 on the comeback. Over under 6 goals tonight in this one. And you're going to get Jordan Binnington in net for the St. Louis Blues against Jonas Johansson, who is 0-5-2 with the 3.78 goals against and an 88% save percentage here. So I'm looking to potentially play the Blues here plus 180. You got Binnington, who is kind of had a pretty good season. Not as stellar as you would think Jordan Binnington would, but still valiant here. 2.78 goals against. So going up against Jonas Johansson here, the backup here for the Avalanche hasn't really had much success this season. A little stab here, plus 180 with the Blues could be a look here. Do you have anything on this game, John?
Well, if I understand you right, Grubauer is the regular. He's the starter, the stud.
Correct.
And you have a switch here, but the line, interesting enough, has not moved. It opened at 210, and now it's actually a smidge higher. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. 54% of the bets on Colorado, but 70% of the money is on St. Louis.
Yeah, I like St. Louis. So a little sad. Yep. Probably not a full play for me, but definitely a smaller play, especially at the 180 price point. Excuse me. I really like this play here, but it won't be a full unit. It'll probably be like, somewhere between the third and a half of a unit here. I mean, Colorado is arguably the best team in the National Hockey League. So it's hard for me to really say I want to back the Blues here in this spot, but with this goaltending situation and matchup, I'm looking towards the Blues here tonight as well at plus 180 at that big price.
It's an interesting dog betting system here I just saw. Mm-hmm. And we're betting on road underdogs up to plus 200, which would be St. Louis, after playing a home game against an opponent after playing 4 consecutive home games. So this is they coming off of at least a 4-game road stand, and now they're taking to the road as a dog up to and including plus 200. And that's all there is to it. That's gone 39-24 for 62%, averaging a plus 145 dog. So we're talking a little bit higher than 145, but again, it's valid.
Yeah, I just think there's value at plus 180.
Yep.
I would make this line like plus 145, plus 150, somewhere in that range. Yep. So when I can get the extra 30 cents of value here on the Blues with Binnington and Ed against some guy who is horrible, I'll take it all day.
Here's another one I like even better. 51% winners, and I emphasize that, 51%. It's averaging a plus 135 dog play. You're going to play on any team after scoring 2 goals or fewer in 3 consecutive games and facing an opponent that is coming off 2 straight wins by 2 or more goal margins. So, it's regression both directions. The St. Louis team is expected to play better than they have recently, and Colorado may be looking ahead because they are Colorado. This is a game where they could get caught looking ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And not only that, I wouldn't hate it if someone wanted to roll, over 6 in this game as well at even money.
Yeah, I'm seeing 5.5, and you got to lay a lot of vig right now. 6 under is.
I'm seeing 6 at even money on the over.
Yep, plus 107 actually at DraftKings.
Yeah.
Circa is still 5.5 over minus 125, and that's not a smart bet. You never lay vig like that on a bet.
No. So take a look at that maybe, but blue's really in that one for me. We didn't talk about the Capitals-Devils game, and not a whole lot to report on it. You're gonna have Vanasek going against Mackenzie Blackwood. He's great. He's having a great season. Vanasek's having a good season. Last night was a very weird game between the two teams, so I really have no play on this game. It is a Capitals minus 145 short road favorite against the Devils at plus 125. It's probably a pass game for me. And then an interesting game here, late night, late cap on the East Coast, and that's going back West Coast against San Jose Sharks taking on the Los Angeles Kings. Kings are minus 120 over under 5.5 goals. And it's interesting. I would play this game if I knew who the starter was. Right now it says projected Cal Peterson in goal for the Kings against Martin Jones for the San Jose Sharks. If Cal Peterson does play, it is going to be a play for me on the Kings at minus 120. If quick plays, it's going to be a over the total play for me at over 5.5 minus 120. So it really just depends.
I'm actually seeing Dubnyk for San Jose.
I'm seeing Martin Jones as confirmed.
Okay. That's why I ask.
I'm going to look at another website. 1 second. Pulling it up right now.
Yeah, if it's so confirmed, I'm sure that's right.
Yeah, confirmed on both websites. Yep. Martin Jones is the starting goalie tonight.
Good deal.
Yeah, so in that case, I like the Kings, especially if Cal Peterson is starting in goal for them tonight, for sure. So just make sure as we get closer to game time, you keep an eye on who's starting for the Kings. And that pretty much wraps up the NHL card. I mean, you do have one more game on the slate, and that's the Coyotes against the Ducks. Adin Hill versus Anthony Stolarz. I don't really have any play on this game, so I'm just going to pass.
Yeah, I don't have anything either. I don't.
That's it for the NHL card for me, really, right now. But I mean, those are three solid plays. Under 6 in the Maple Leafs Jets game. Edmonton minus 140 and the Blues at plus 180. And the Kings, if Cal Peterson starts, at minus 120.
I'm going to share the screen here as we're going to transition to NBA here with the time we have remaining because I do have a betting system here that I like. It's pretty good. So, and there it is. Now, sorry I didn't do it in the movie theater streaming role because it's only one slide. So, I guess you can see that I don't even know if I did save it. I did save it. So anyway, Revenge coming Friday night. And I like this play quite a bit because it is somewhat contrarian that it's the Lakers, and the Lakers are plus 4 against the Sacramento Kings.
I'm seeing plus 4.5.
Yeah. It's definitely, the public is all over the Kings. The Lakers are the Lakers right now. They're just a mediocre team when they don't have the studs in there. It's simple as that. However, they are National Basketball Association players. They're all very good, or they wouldn't be at this level. And, I think this is a great situation to play them. So, it's pretty self-explanatory to bet on road teams revenging a same-season loss, and that's the key part of this. It can't be losing, like, say, in a playoff game that eliminated you last year. This is same season. And the road team is coming off a double-digit home loss, which the Lakers are. That's gone 116 and 60 in 2 pushes, 66% last 5 seasons. And if our road team has a win percentage above 60% for the season, which the Lakers do, they are 18 and 8. So, I think this is a pretty strong bet here, and I recommend it with confidence.
I like it.
So, other than that, do you have any other bets in the NBA or?
I have a baseball play. I have a couple baseball plays.
Okay.
I've already bet the Marlins at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. Pablo Lopez, really good pitcher. If you take away, his big loss last year that he gave up, so many runs in, his ERA was really like 2.5. Going up against Ryan Yarbrough. I like the Marlins here tonight. Come back, bounce back from last night's loss. That's one play I have. And another play I have is the over in the Angels game tonight.
That's what I was looking at too. I actually like the Angels too.
I had the Angels last night. I actually had the Angels last night.
And off the top of my...
I'm actually really high on the Angels.
Well, it would be nice to see Trout get to the playoffs.
Yep.
That's almost near ridiculous that he hasn't. But I'm looking at Pablo Lopez here for Miami, and Miami has a lot of very good, relatively young pitchers. Some are extraordinarily young.
Yep.
Lopez, throws four-seam, sinker, cutter, change, and once in a blue moon, a curve, which I think in these the StatCast data that I get is more of a it's a cutter that just didn't go very fast. Sometimes you squeeze the ball when you're a pitcher and it doesn't come out right. But in terms of average speed, by modern standards, he's not terribly overwhelming. 94 for the four-seamer, 94 with heavy sinking, tailing action into right-handed batters. The cutter also is late breaking, and that averages about 89, 90. Change is 87. Ideally, you'd want to see that at probably about 83. You want about 10 miles an hour between the fastball and the change to be really, really effective. And I'm not even going to mention the curve, but the spin rates are what is really, really good for him because all three of those pitches are over 2,100 RPM. And when you get into that realm, and his cutter's 2,200, that's good stuff. So that's going to cause the late breaking, very, very bad swings and misses of the opponent. So this is a guy that I followed last year, and let's compare him to Ryan Yarbrough because he's not exactly a horrible pitcher, but he's a different mode. He's a different type. He doesn't really he throws a sinking fastball. He's a natural hand that just every single fastball is going to have heavy sinking action. He generates a lot of ground balls when he's on. If you start seeing him in the early innings, giving up more fly ball outs than ground ball outs, it might be a sign to put some money on Miami at that point because that's not a good sign for Mr. Yarbrough. And spin rates are good. They're 1,900. His cutter is a little bit over 2,000. The change is 1,900. But the difference in the breaks and the severity of the breaks you'll see in the game tonight is you can see it with your own eye. Especially when the camera's behind the pitcher, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So, barrel percentage too, the percentage that batters are able to get the good sweet spot of the barrel of the bat on a ball from Pablo Lopez occurs 4.3% of the time, which is outstanding. I mean, that's almost in the elite territory. So I think you got a real good play here with Miami, and nobody's giving them a chance to do anything. And granted, if you look at the roster, it's going to be a struggle for them to compete against the Braves and the Mets, Nationals, Phillies, but they have talent, and it's young, and it'll be interesting to see how that matures this year for sure.
Yeah, I like the Miami Marlins quite a bit. I liked them last year. They have like you said, a great pitching staff. A lot of young, really good pitchers on that team. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. I mean, last night, didn't they only give up one run?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but we can easily find that out, I think.
I'll tell you right now. Yeah, they lost the game 1-0 yesterday.
And that's what you're going to see with them. They're going to lose games like that, and that's why they won't contend.
Right. But their pitchers always keep them in the games.
Yep.
And I think tonight it's a good look at the Marlins. And then I like over in the Angels game, over 8.5 minus 120 right now.
Yep. And how about that Texas Kansas City game yesterday? It went over in the second inning.
What a wild game.
Yeah, that was football like on the scoreboard for sure. I never seen an in-game total at 22.5, but it existed, and obviously if you would have bet that, it would have won. Certainly not suggesting you bet totals over in baseball games when the total's even over 15. Usually teams settle down, but then you get these games, and sometimes it happens at Fenway, it happens at Coors Field, Colorado a lot because of the altitude. But generally you're not going to see these outliers happen consistently day to day. That's for sure. Phillies got a big win yesterday. They had Braves had the bases loaded, 2 outs in the top of the 8th, and I forget who the batter was, but hit an absolute laser at third base, and it was caught.
Wow.
And the Phillies have I keep forgetting his name, but he's a second-year guy, and he's very, very good. But we'll worry about the name later. You can look him up, and I'm sure maybe the chat room can even tell me who he is. But that's really all I have here. And just to write down the MLB plays, you like
Marlins,
Miami?
Over and Angels.
Yep. All right, I'm jotting that down. So I guess that'll be it for this show here. Nice, short, and sweet.
How I like it.
Which is yeah. I see a lot of people in the chat room, at least from my angle. And we certainly appreciate all of you. Robert Miller, Glenn Middleton is one of our big fans right from the start. And James Patrick Lindemann, of course, too. He's in the chat room there. Robert Miller, who I believe is the guy that's your number one fan, Ira.
Oh, stop it! You're my number one fan, John.
No, come on. Not when I don't know horse racing and hockey. I mean, come on. You can't be a fan of a guy like that. But I guess I do okay in the other stuff. But it's just it's an exciting weekend here, and we will be. Well, I guess I will be live at some point tomorrow during the 2 games. But I will tell you this. I do have an app now that's in, I'll call it beta, but it would have done very, very well historically, and it would have done well in several of the games in the tournament. So what it is, and this will be applied to the NBA too, moving forward, is I will be sitting watching a game, and when the scoring gets up to 7.2 points per minute, and it sustains for 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to bet the under, no matter what it is. As long as it's not minus 120 VIG, you will bet the under. And if you're patient enough, the under might be a point or two until you get that minus 105 or minus 110 or the plus 100, but it's worth the wait. And then conversely, when you go down to 2.7 points per minute, then you're going to bet the over. But it has to be sustained over a 3-minute to 5-minute period. So the reason that I have that window, 3 to 5 minutes, that's the window where you're going to start looking to place the live bet. And this happened in the Creighton-Gonzaga game,
right?
Where they started out 52 points in the first 10 minutes, and then during that span they were scoring almost 8 a minute, which is NBA-like. And then all of a sudden the breaks came on both teams, and I think at one point they were down at 1.4 points per minute for that 3-minute period. So you could have middled it by 25 points. I mean, it was insane. So I think that's an outlier. I mean, you can't look at any game and expect a 25-point middle. But I do think in the 2 semifinal games coming up tomorrow night, that's worth a look. So I'm going to do my best to tweet it. I'm giving some consideration. I think might have been you, Ira, that suggested setting up a Discord.
Yep.
With the application, and everybody can come in there. And if I have something to say, or you have something to say, or any of our other guests, it'll be dedicated to in-game betting, which I think is clearly the future. There's more and more I'm seeing opportunities to play games that I would not bet pre-flop. We talk about 50% pre-flop and then adding throughout the game based on the volatility of the game. But more and more, I look at it that you do the 50% just in case your team's going to go wire to wire and win. That's what makes sense with that. But it actually may end up being a lot better ROI-wise to do 25% pre-flop and then add. Especially in the NBA. You get totals at 240. And by the way, here's something I'll ask you.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think scoring is up per game, if you had to guess?
In which league?
In the NBA. With all the higher totals and stuff.
Since when?
The last couple of years. Like versus last year, the year before.
Probably like 5 to 10%.
And I was leading you. I was leading you down that path intentionally. So don't be upset with me. But we're averaging 111.7 points per game right now in the league. Last year it was 111.8. The year before that it was 110. It was a 111.2.
Wow.
It was not till you get to the 17-18 season that it drops down to 106. So from that season to the next, it went up 5 points per game on average per team, and it has stayed there the last 3 seasons. So what is happening is that you're getting these teams that don't play defense. Brooklyn, for example, maybe the Kings as another good poster child for the no defense NBA team. And as a result, when they get matched up, you're going to get these totals that are 245, which we've never seen. But inherently, as a human being, right away you start thinking, oh my goodness gracious, the NBA is just scoring at reckless abandon. And not necessarily because it's bad defense. It's just because the totals are so high, it makes you automatically think. But the range between the minimum and the max has never been greater in the history of the NBA between totals.
Wow.
That's a little tidbit there. But I had Austin Wang on for the first time. He made his debut. He's a analytical guy that likes Python and I enjoy him very much. And he mentioned that simply betting overs 235 and higher wins at a considerable rate. I think it was in the high 60s. Betting under 215 and lower also wins at a very high rate. So that's the reason I brought it up. Because that makes total sense to me, and I think the amount of covers on unders doing it that way and overs are going to narrow over the next month ahead of the playoffs, but it's still going to be valid.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, in case you wanted to know, we'll have to have a segment called that.
Yeah. All right. Well.
But anyway, Ira, I appreciate being on and. You want to leave any thoughts with your fans here?
No, let's just let's get a good card going. Let's win some money. Let's get a profitable night.
Yeah, and go Cougars, man. Go Houston Cougars. So for Ira Silver, myself, and the Predictive Playbook, may all the wins be yours.